What up, my fellow freedom fighters? I am pleased to share with you that after a very long time grinding, I have 100% fully completed every Warbond in Helldivers 2. I don't mean that I just unlocked all the guns or all the stratagems. No. I acquired every last item in every damn Warbond. Which reminds me, I have a super credit and metal farming video that I'll link down in the pinned comment if you want to check that out. But anyway, today we're going to go over what the best options are for absolutely everything, which will break up into the following categories. So if you want, you can jump around the video to whatever chapter you like. Hopefully this helps a few divers out there who may be wondering what Warbonds to unlock first and what to go after in those Warbonds. Starting with the best primary weapons across every Warbond, which I have narrowed down to my own personal top 5. Coming in at number 5, we have the Laz 17 Double Sickle, which can be found in the Servants of Freedom Warbond on page 1, meaning you can pretty much unlock it right away. I really enjoy the double edge. I find it works respectably well against automatons, but extremely well against both Terminids and Illuminate, making it a relatively flexible pick for pretty much any dive. And speaking of flexibility, the double edge works on all kinds of armor, light, medium, and heavy. Not that you would ever use it exclusively to take on heavy armored enemies, because you need to overheat the weapon in order to get the max damage to do that, which in turn will hurt and burn you, but the option does remain there. Although if you have flame repellent armor and the vitality enhancement, you can overheat the weapon without hurting yourself too badly. My favorite feature of the double edge is that it is a heat weapon, meaning that as long as you manage the fire rate properly and don't go crazy with overheating the damn thing, you essentially have a hard-hitting weapon with unlimited ammo and no need to ever reload. Extremely fun weapon, great for players who don't want to do a whole lot of ammo management. At number 4, we have the Plaz 101 Purifier, which can be found in the Polar Patriots Warbond on page 3. I would definitely not bring the Purifier in on a bug mission, but it does excellent against the Illuminate and has also become my number 1 primary weapon for fighting automatons in the year of our Lord 2025. I'm not saying it's the hands down best weapon in the game for bot killing, plenty will work, but I find the Purifier to be incredibly easy to use to the point that anyone could equip it and pop off in any automaton drop. My original go-to bot killer would be the Scorcher, which is still very good, but I feel that the Purifier doesn't go through ammo as fast, which is very handy for long-term survivability, especially because high-level bot missions can spiral out of control very quickly. Hashtag remember the creek. If you're ever looking to make bot missions a breeze, go with the Purifier and the recoilless rifle together and demolish everything in front of you. Feel free to thank me later. At number 3, we have a relatively new option, the AR2 Coyote from the Dust Devils Warbond on page 1, making it a damn easy unlock. As I mentioned in my overall review of the new Warbond, the AR2 Coyote is a very good primary weapon to the point where I'd say it's probably the hands down best unlock in the entire Dust Devils bond. The Coyote is acceptable against bots, but elite against both the Illuminate and Terminids. It can penetrate medium armor and the rounds are incendiary, meaning you just straight up light enemies on fire as you shoot them, basically free extra damage on top of your regular damage from just shooting them. There's really not much to say about this weapon other than it's a workhorse. If you pair it together with good anti-tank, you're basically just set for life against bugs or squids, in my opinion. Extremely well-rounded weapon. Veteran players out there probably know exactly what the number 2 and number 1 weapons are, but here they are anyway. At number 2, we have the CB9 Exploding Crossbow from the Democratic Detonation Warbond, which can be found on page 3. The Exploding Crossbow is a rare caliber of weapon that is so good it excels at fighting all 3 factions in the game, meaning you could take it with you into literally any mission at all and not one person would question you. Again, medium armor penetration, which if you can tell is important to me in a primary weapon, but the most important part is that it fires explosive bolts. These explosions have very respectable blast radius, meaning 2 things. 1, free crowd control, and 2, quality damage per shot. You can also take it to close bug holes, bot fabricators, or squid ships, which is extra icing on the cake. You may have to manage your ammo a little bit, but once you unlock the thing and bring it into any mission, the results will speak for themselves. And at number 1, we have probably my current favorite weapon in the entire game, the R36 Eruptor, also from the Democratic Detonation Warbond, which can be found on page 2. The Eruptor is just a stupidly good weapon, and just like its little brother, the crossbow, is an elite option at fighting all 3 factions at max level difficulty. Basically everything the crossbow does, in my opinion, the Eruptor does either the same or maybe a little bit better. It can shut down holes, fabricators, and ships. It does wild damage per shot, and it's free crowd control. Oh, and also heavy armor penetrating, if that all wasn't enough. Players using the Eruptor for the first time may be mildly annoyed by the fact that you have to cock the gun after every shot, but they'll soon learn that is a small price to pay for using a weapon this efficient at wiping out small to mid-level trash of any faction. If you're a new player or you just don't have it yet, go unlock it and never look back. All right, why don't we move on and talk about the best secondary weapons across every Warbond. Rather than a top 5, I'm actually going to boil these down to the top 3. My reasons for doing so is that because, in my opinion, the top 3 secondary weapons are so good, they hard overshadow all the other options in the game. I will give an honorable mention to the GP31 grenade pistol from the Democratic Detonation Warbond on page 3, as that is a fun gun that can efficiently shut down holes, fabricators, and ships due to being explosive. However, with how good both the crossbow and the Eruptor both are, they've made it so that I haven't used the grenade pistol in quite some time, although I do know that some people enjoy it a lot. Anyway, at the number 3 spot, we have the P4 Senator from the Steeled Veterans Warbond, which can be obtained right away on page 1. This was my original favorite secondary weapon in the game. I love it so much that I have a 3D printed version in my office. Thank you again for that, T-Rex, by the way. Appreciate you. But the Senator has stood the test of time. It's actually even been buffed since the game launched, which I find shocking because, again, I thought it was terrific from the get-go. It hits extremely hard and can even penetrate heavy armor. Not that you would use it for doing that exclusively, but it is fun to think about. The Senator is great for last-minute emergencies where enemies may be getting too close and you don't have enough time to reload your primary, or maybe you just want to conserve primary ammo. Whip it out, cap the enemy, and watch them go down right away. I think it's really a shame that the number 1 secondary weapon is just so good, because otherwise I would use the Senator even more. At number 2, we have the GP20 Ultimatum from the Servants of Freedom Warbond and can be found on page 2. The Ultimatum is a wildly good secondary weapon. For those unfamiliar, it's basically a mini nuke on demand. Naturally, you get very few shots with the weapon, but it's an extremely fun time whenever you pull the trigger. While the Ultimatum can take down heavy armored units in an emergency, 99% of the time I use them for enemy building or spawn location destroying. On high-level missions, if you ever find a giant mega nest bug hole, those can't be closed with regular grenades on their own. Only certain things in the game can close those giant holes, and the Ultimatum is one of them. Fantastic weapon, and one I consider a mandatory unlock along the same level as probably the crossbow or the Eruptor. And at number 1, we have the Laz 58 Talon from the Borderline Justice Warbond, found on page 2. If you're a new diver or you've never fired this weapon once before in your life, it's kind of hard to accurately describe just how good the Talon is. It's arguably better than most primary weapons in the game, which is saying a lot. The TLDR for the Talon is, what if the Senator had unlimited ammo? Granted, the Senator can break heavy armor while the Talon can only break medium, but as I mentioned, I usually use anti-tank options for heavy armor anyway. I'm straight up kind of sad at how good the Talon is because it has 100% dethroned my beloved Senator, but it's really hard to argue with the results. Because the Talon is a heat-based weapon, it means that essentially you have a hard-hitting, reliable, and accurate secondary weapon that will straight up never run out of ammo or need to be reloaded unless you overheat it by firing it too rapidly, which is so easy to avoid. Terrific against all 3 factions, no reloading, no running out of ammo, always there when you need it, just a stupidly, offensively good weapon, and a mandatory unlock IMO. All right, now we come to best stratagems. Again, not the best stratagems in the entire game, but the best ones you should prioritize across all available Warbonds. I'm gonna give a quick honorable mention to the solo silo in the Dust Devils Warbond. I wouldn't call it a must-get stratagem, but it is fun, and I think it has more value than some players might realize. Anyway, coming in at number 3, the Bronze Medal is a two-way tie between the EAT-12 anti-tank emplacement from the Urban Legends Warbond on page 3, and the Guard Dog Dog Breath from Chemical Agents, also found on page 3. The anti-tank emplacement, or as my friend lovingly calls it, the gaming chair, is very fun to use in the evacuate high-value assets missions when they are available. Meanwhile, the Dog Breath, as I mentioned in my best build against bugs in 2025 video, makes fighting Terminids even at level 10 difficulty a breeze. The gas is insanely effective at disorienting even the most annoying bugs, including stalkers, and giving you immediate breathing room, and because it is a guard dog rover, it does all the work for you, allowing you to blast everything to bits in the confusion. I'd say get the gaming chair as a more general pick, and especially get the guard dog if you're the type of player who really loves fighting bugs above the other two factions. At number 2, we have the incredibly fun Warp Pack, which can be found on page 3. Of all the backpack options in Helldivers 2, I think the Warp Pack is probably the most universally viable option. Most of the time, I just use it for moving around the map a little bit faster, which is always fun, but you can also use it to get out of the way of an impending attack, which might save your life. You can also use it offensively by teleporting into an enemy, but I don't use that feature so much. Kind of a emergencies only or a happy accident type situation. As mentioned in my super credit farming video, my favorite weird use of the Warp Pack is to allow you to teleport inside bunkers, which normally can only be opened by 2 players each hitting a button. Highly addicting and good in almost any situation. Finally, at number 1, my personal gold medal goes to the Portable Hellbomb from the Servants of Freedom Warbond on page 3. The Portable Hellbomb is an extremely fun stratagem that also has great use. Whenever you deem the time is right, you can just activate the timer, and then, ideally, you take the backpack off and run far away. The Hellbomb can get you a lot of kills on big crowds that are giving you trouble, as the preview shows us in the Warbond, but you can also use the PB for nuking big boys like Bile Titans, and for shutting down Terminid mega nest holes, which again can't be closed by regular grenades alone. In the most recent high-level Terminid missions where you fight on the bug home planet and spend 90% of the time in caves underground, the Portable Hellbomb is damn handy, as the cave roof blocks most stratagems from going underground, but the Portable Hellbomb is, portable. Overall, though, I would say that even though these Warbond stratagems are definitely fun, I'd keep in mind that if you're a new player, that the regular stratagems that you unlock at the ship management station are typically more viable and probably more important at unlocking first than the Warbond stratagems I just mentioned. Stratagems found in Warbonds usually aren't quite as strong, which I'm guessing is an intentional game philosophy from Arrowhead. Moving on, the best grenades, of which, believe it or not, I am narrowing it down to only the top 2, because on God, the top options I feel really are that good to the point where they kind of leave everything else in the dust. At number 2, we have the G4 gas grenade from the Chemical Agents Warbond on page 1. Chuck it at a group of enemies to temporarily blind, slow, disorient, confuse enemies, allowing you to either get away or just make distance before turning around and blowing up the group yourself. I know it might seem weird to the average Helldiver to recommend disorienting a group of enemies rather than just outright blasting them, but the gas grenade will get you out of a ton of jams at the high level, I assure you. Also, and you shouldn't plan on doing this by the way, but you can get away with throwing them into clumps of enemies with your teammates in there too to help your teammate get away if they are getting ganged up on. Thankfully, the damage of the grenade is low, so even though your teammate will get slightly hurt, especially their pride, they won't flat out die like they would if you threw a regular grenade, and they can get away in the chaos. And at number 1, we have the G123 Thermite Grenade from, what else, the Democratic Detonation Warbond on page 1. The Thermite Grenade does laughably high damage, almost as much as an Ultimatum mini nuke. When thrown, it will stick to a target and then detonate after a short period of time, likely killing whatever it was stuck to, with a couple exceptions. If you're using a solid primary weapon like the Eruptor, which can handle basically every grunt level unit in the game with ease, the Thermite is a perfect pairing as it can take down bigger enemies like Chargers no problem. Granted, the Eruptor can handle Chargers on its own, it's just annoying and time consuming, and the Thermite is immediate easy mode. I'd say that for maybe over 90% of the missions that I run at the high level, I bring the Thermite. Yeah, I usually also bring anti-tank weapons to make sure I can handle heavy enemies without a Thermite, especially at longer range, but you do not want to be caught off guard by a big chunky enemy if you happen to be out of ammo with your anti-tank weapon or the stratagem is on cooldown. The Thermite Grenade is your best ace in the hole against a lot of deadly heavies and a mandatory unlock IMO. Alright, now for the best boosters. I recently just made a video ranking every booster in the game. I'll link that down in the pinned comment. If you're looking for more info about what exactly each booster does, feel free to check that out. But let's go over the top 3 Warbond unlocks. At number 3, we have Experimental Infusion from Viper Commandos, which can be found on page 3. Basically, anytime you apply a stim, you temporarily increase your movement speed and your overall level of damage reduction. Because you're going to be healing a lot in any mission, especially at the high level, this is an extremely good booster to take. Do not sleep on it. Much longer stim duration, good buffs, and something you will take advantage of frequently. At number 2, we have Stamina Enhancement from Helldivers Mobilize, which can be found on page 7. With this booster, you increase your team's stamina capacity and the rate at which you regen your stamina. Not a very fun sounding or flashy booster, but you will spend 99% of the time in any high-level Helldiver mission running to the enemy, running away from the enemy, running across the map to get to faraway objectives, running. Stamina Enhancement improves the in-game feature you use the most in the game, aka running, making it, to me, a mandatory unlock. And speaking of mandatory unlocks, at number 1, we have the only Hellpod Space Optimization found in Helldivers Mobilize on page 3. Basically, when you drop into any mission at any time, you will always come out fully stocked on ammo, grenades, and stims. HSO is bar none the best booster in the game and a mandatory unlock for every player. IMO. Being on a team where this booster is not active, which usually in my case only happens if one person on the team who brought it disconnects out of the mission, is Spain without the S. Alright, now we'll very briefly talk about armor, basically which armor sets you'll get the most general use out of, in my opinion. At number 3, we have a two-way tie between any armor with either the Engineering Kit passive or the Medkit passive, both of which can be found in Helldivers Mobilize. Very easy concept. Engineering Kit gives you more grenades, and Medkit gives you more and better stims, which are equipment you'll be using a lot across any mission, guaranteed. At number 2, we have the SR-24 Street Scout Armor from Urban Legends on page 1, or any future armor with the Siege Ready passive. Not a very flashy bonus, but improving your reload speed and ammo capacity is insanely good and will always be helping you. Some people might rate that number 1, by the way, which I can't blame them for, but I remain obsessed with my own personal number 1 pick, any armor with Democracy Protects, which if you don't have any, can be found on page 5 of Helldivers Mobilize. The 50% chance to flat out not die when taking damage that would otherwise kill you is incredibly good even to this day. It's saved my ass more times than I can ever count. Elite, and I will never not love it. And finally, emote-wise. Unfortunately, the best emote in the game is Enthusiastic Mirth, and it's in the Superstore. Very sadly, no other emote in the game matters. And there you go. Target whatever you need, but unsurprisingly, the best stuff in the game remains in the Democratic Detonation Warbond, even after all this time. Hop by the Twitch channel if you're ever free. I stream every week. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.